Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
A guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
And welcome one and all, back to PSGL, back to F2, PC F2. Just reeling back my mic there, had a little bit of an issue in the background, but we're all good now. We are coming to a crucial point in the season. We're coming up to the halfway point. Of course, I'm joined by the one and only Nathan Richards, aka Richie. How are you doing, my good sir?
I am doing very, very well, and I'm very excited for this race. We're at France, and the championship, if we ignore Marco at the front, he's quite close. Second to fifth, he's separated by just over 7 points. At the front, though, it's a little bit further away, but I think this race is going to be brilliant. France, we saw this here in the E-Series, and it delivered a brilliant race. We saw this here in the past as well, in Season 33, and it also delivered a brilliant race. So I think we've got a very, very exciting inning ahead of us.
Yeah, well, you can see just the standings on screen right now. So, Mirko, 48 points in that Ferrari, looking mighty strong. Quite a hefty lead there, and certainly has got a little bit of cushion room in the championship, but other drivers aren't further behind. Reece Linton, 35 points, with Tycho Hardy in 32, Pipinta 31, and Kamil Stachura at 28 points. Then you start to see things calm down a little bit, with Klappenbach, Halliday, Gundorp, Van Bussel and Koya making up the top 10. Credit to Van Bussel in the reserve position, but it's still in P9 in the championship. Goes to show everyone's got a shot here.
Of course, definitely. I think that's one thing we've seen throughout this season so far. It's been a very close season, hasn't it? I think, all 20 drivers here have shown capabilities of being at the top or having the capability to be at the top. It's just about getting those right conditions and making sure you're in the right headspace and you've got the right pace on the day to make it work. Obviously, last week in Canada, it was quite an interesting one, a very interesting affair indeed, and we had many people fighting for the win at one point, and in the end it was, of course, Mirko and Kamil that came out 1 and 2, and in third place I believe it was Tycho Hardy in the end due to penalties. And then, of course, in terms of penalties we got as well after the race, we had 5 seconds for Andres Lopez, another 5 seconds for Daniel Kjels, and then Nico Benz has been hit with a quali ban and a 5 seconds to serve on this race here, Seppi. Then that is going to really, really harm his confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly going to hurt the confidence. I don't have a doubt that he's practiced ready for this to try and make up for that, but simultaneously, it is going to be a hit that he's going to have to endure. He's got, say, that quali ban, he's got that 5 seconds, and he's got a little bit of a license penalty point problem that's starting to rack up. And you've got to remember, so drivers have got to be careful. The licenses aren't just wiped clean at the drop of a hat. Like, these points do stick with you, and it sometimes can result in quite the consequence. If you're a little bit too dangerous on track, or if you're being a bit overzealous with some of your moves, then it can end up in pretty poor results.
Of course, and I think that's one thing that the drivers have got to be careful with, because obviously the penalty points, they cross over, I believe it's a 4-month period, which is pretty much 2 seasons. Obviously after this season we've got a big break, so, but yeah, normally it's around 2 seasons is how long that penalty point period lasts, and we've already seen people in tiers below us in F3 and F4 get removed due to those penalty points being breached, which is of course a big shame to see. But Sappy, I believe you're heading our way through in towards qualifying now, just getting everyone in before the session can start, and then we've got 80 minutes of qualifying round, a very dry circuit here tonight.
Yeah, it's looking nice and dry here in France. So remember, 15 corners, 3.6 miles, aka 5.8 kilometers, and a very high-speed layout overall. Now, this track, while it doesn't necessarily have much undulation, it makes up for more than that in some of the high-speed chicanes, high-commitment corners, and the 2 DRS zones splitting the race. Key flashpoints is going to be turn 8. It's going to be turn 4 as well, because we see a few drivers try and get the edge out of one another before heading down onto the Mistral Straight and the chicane halfway through. But we're about to jump in to qualifying. And who have you got your eyes on this session, Nathan?
Oh,
that's the question.
It's a hard one because I think, as we mentioned all season long, every race has been drivers that have really stood out and have looked the best and looked in their best form. But I am keeping my eyes on the same pair tonight, Max and Bradley, because they've both shown brilliant performances in the past, and obviously Bradley got a brilliant qualifying, I think it was back in Monaco or something, or the round after. Max obviously has missed a couple of races due to being away, so I'm keen on seeing what those pair can do. I think they've got a lot of the sleeves to use tonight around the track, which is quite friendly, I think, in relative to many other circuits we take. So yeah, I'm keen on seeing what they can do, but also looking at likes of Reese Linton, obviously took victory back in Austria as well. Camille, who took victory last week in Canada, and I don't know if it's an issue on my end, but I can keep hearing a bit of a sound, I don't know if it's coming from your mic or my mic.
Not really sure there, because it seems to be fine on my end. So of course we'll see, we'll monitor, but we are going to jump trackside.
Broken again.
We're going to jump trackside, and we're going to jump in with Theo McKee.
Yes. Your mic messed up a bit there, Sappy.
Interesting.
I missed about 10 seconds of what you said. It just sounded like, as I said earlier, like 2 electric wires buzzing.
I think my mic is having its day. Time has come. But few drivers are going to be hopping out here. So we have Nico Benz, of course, serving his quali ban, but more curiously, Pearson out as well. I don't believe he had anything to serve there.
He's got a disconnection, I believe, because he left the session. So I think Kai Pearson suffered the... When you disconnect, the game looks to disqualify you or DNF you from the session, and that's what's happened there to Kai Pearson. I'm hoping there's not a restart for this. I don't think there will be. But if obviously I'm hosting the session for once. I don't normally do it. So if there's anything that anyone needs to let me know, that's in the lobby, let me know in Discord, and I can react to it and get everything sorted. But I believe we're obviously going to still continue here tonight. And Theo McKee is going to be the first one to settle up here in this session, just heading through 8 of the final corners now to begin the opening lap around this circuit. Lap times, you're looking around the 1:27 highs in terms of peak lap time. So you're looking around the 1:27.7s or the 8s, and I don't think we'll see much quicker than that, but we'll see as these 18 minutes get underway. We'll see Theo now just heading through down towards turn number 3.
Yep, and we've got actually Sayus Nordyke just slightly further ahead, but let's jump over and see what Theo McKee can do. He has been a proven force, but he has invalidated his lap, unfortunately, already. So we're going to jump back to Nordyke now as he comes into the Mistral Straight. He's going to really put the pedal to the metal, and it's not uncommon to see F1 cars cross the magic 200 barrier.
Yeah, it's a very long straight, isn't it, down towards turn 8 and turn on, and that chicane's only there because of the top speed they'd reach. If they carried on straight, they'd end up in towards the Beauce at full speed. So that chicane there's also to help a bit more racing happen along that part of the circuit. As we can see, Mr. Nordyke can now head through in towards the Beauce as he goes through in towards turn number 11, and we'll see what he can do on this opening run. Obviously, Theon, who's ahead of him, unfortunately had a mistake on his lap, hence why he didn't set a time in the end, and he'll be heading back into the pits, I believe, or either going again, depending on how much fuel he's got in his car. As we can see now, Joost Nordyke heading down in towards the final couple of corners. Virage de Pont at the final corner, turn number 16, I believe, around this circuit. DRS gets enabled, a long run to the start-finish line around this circuit. We'll see what can Joost do as he heads to the line, goes to the top with a 1:28.187, a brilliant lap to open up the session there.
And that is a brilliant lap indeed. He's going to really be putting the pedal to the metal on that one. I say Holdham is going to be coming through. Stevens as well. He's going to be a 0.267. You've got a couple more cars. Leo Lund coming through as well. We've got Max Grosspointer. And it looks like the mic has gone on Discord. So I'm going to see about disconnecting and reconnecting to the Discord there. Not sure what's happening on that front. I'm going to have to quickly do a little bit of technical jiggery-pokery on the fly, because it seems to be a Discord exclusive problem. But Gross Pointer coming up to the line now, 28.194. 27.9 is going to be the time to beat for the likes of the rest of these drivers. Staturer is going to be the next one, and hopefully we'll see how things pan out. I think we briefly lost Nathan there. Are you with us? Apologies, folks. I think we're going to have to briefly resolve a technical issue as drivers have come to the end of their
And the bizarre thing about this
runs.
is, oh, you're back. You can
Yep.
be heard on stream, which is very odd. So I think Discord's got an issue.
Yep, I am going to force restart Discord, and unfortunately that is going to be, we'll see a quick pause menu as we resolve this technical issue. We do apologise, folks. We'll see what's going on, and we'll get to resolving that ASAP. Where the drivers stand as for now, you can see the timing sheet falling into place. Fionn McKee, only one who's in the session still, who has invalidated the lap and has not ended up with a... There we go. We are back in. Hopefully our issues have been resolved. Nathan, are you with us?
I'm there. I'm here.
There you go. Apologies for that brief technical intermission, folks. Discord seems to be having a little bit of a moment, and despite being able to be heard perfectly clearly on stream, Discord is having, and I quote, none of it.
Yeah, none at all. But I can hear you now. Hopefully that's all sorted and we don't run into that issue again. But because I was focusing on what was going on Discord, I kind of missed the lap times coming through. And, well, Tycho onto provisional pole ahead of Reese, ahead of Leo Lund. Excited to see the Red Bull driver near the top here for once here tonight. He's got about, what, a 40,000th gap to the back of Tycho Hardy. So looking very strong is Leo Lund, but also Tycho and Reese at the top again. Two drivers we constantly see near the top of the field. So we'll see what those two can do here tonight. And also we can see Fionn McKee is on an out lap now. He's just heading through in towards the end of that second sector, and we'll see what he can do on his opening run of the session.
Well, he's want to get out as quickly as possible because he did invalidate his initial lap, and that has put him significantly down on the field. The most important thing for him here is going to be having the chance to actually put a time on the board, because regardless of what happens, he's automatically going to get P18 by default.
Yep. So he's going to just... Yeah, he's got to get a good lap in. I think, Fionn shouldn't be down in 18th. I think as a driver that should be, fighting for the top 10, and on his good day can be fighting for the top 5. So he's just got to get himself settled in and just ignore the issues he had earlier, ignore the fact he invalidated his previous run, and just start anew fresh, like it's starting the session once again as he heads down in towards turn number 1, just throwing it to the left-hand side before getting back on the power through in towards turns 2, and then obviously heading down in towards turn number 3. Very easy to mess up the lap here by invalidating it. As you're heading towards this next section, just wanted to be careful with the track limits, just throwing it onto the curves if you can, but try not to run too wide as he heads through in towards turn number 6 at the right, going out wide to get a decent run and carry a lot of speed through as you head now onto that mistral straight. DRS is going to be used down towards this next chicane, and we can see as well, Stappy, a lot more people heading out for outlaps, so a lot of people looking to get their second run started as Fionn. He's just halfway through his first.
Yeah, so we've got about 10 minutes left in the session, and that means we're going to get at least 2 more runs from everyone here. Fionn has flubbed his first, but he still has got an opportunity here, and he will have a third run. So now it's going to be a little bit of pressure on him, no doubt, but we have seen that on his day, when he can link it all together, so he can come through the final sector now, when he links it together, he's capable of some blistering pace.
He is. Well, if you remember last season, the first round in Japan, he got second and, barely finished behind the back of Max Wiesel. So he's shown he can fight for very, very good points, and he will continue on with this lap as he heads down in towards the final corner. We'll see what can Fionn McKee do as he heads out up towards the line. DRS activated here for the Williams. What will it be? As he heads to the line, puts himself into P18, a 28.4. Now that is considerably off the pace of even 17th position, 2/10 nearly off the back of Bradley Holdham. It's nearly 4/5 off the back of Tycho Hardy. So lots of time needs to be found here by the Williams, as we can see already. That means we'll have a restart at the end of the session due to the 5 place grid penalties. Shimon Komsky and Joris Krozen being the first to get those. And Sappy, I know you're obviously over at WRT too, and Joris in PSGL, and I saw this from last season. Joris here in PSGL is nothing like the Joris over in that league, is it?
It's a little bit interesting to see some of the different dynamics between different leagues, and yeah, like whether it's just say stiffer competition or just different sort of outlook. You do see some drivers who are performing really well here, maybe not being, or say being more towards the mid pack in other leagues, and vice versa. So it's very interesting to see how that dynamic tends to play out. Got a few more drivers going out here. Say Fionn McKee with the 28.4. to start off this second wave of quali laps, but he is on the board, so he is P18, and that is still progress on his part. We're going to be sticking on board with Joris Krotzen, or Krotzen. Kodiak sometimes confuses me with that, but we are sticking on board nonetheless. We're piloting that Mercedes. We're going to see the kind of times that he can put down.
Yeah, we'll see what Joris can do. We look at the gaps here, just from 11th down towards 17th. That's less than a tenth of a second separating. Nearly 6 drivers, so we'll see what Joris can do on this next lap. I believe his first sector, by what it seemed like to me, was up by 1.5 tenths of a second, so that's already looking good enough to put himself towards that top 5 as he heads down in towards the braking zone at turn 8 and 9 and loses the race slightly on the entry to the corner. That could definitely lose him a little bit of time on this lap. We'll see what he can do in that middle sector. He's up by nearly 2 tenths of a second there, so it's looking good here for Joris at the moment. Puts him around P6 on the current lap time he's projected for, but he's still got a final sector to go. Lebose goes in towards turn 11, pulls it back around to the inside at the right-hander, back on the power, through in towards left-hander once again this time. Then at turn number 13, you take it a little bit wider to hit the apex at the last second, to then pull it round and keep it on the curbs around the out at number 14. Then back to the left at the turn number 15 before entering the hairpin at turn number 16. And so far, Slappy, this is looking like a good lap as Max Grospunkter goes to the top by nearly a tenth of a second to Togo Hardy.
Yeah, well, the track is starting to evolve a little bit, clearly. There is a bit of rubbering in happening. Crossen coming in 0.958, just a single tenth of the Red Bull of Lund, but it is going to be a great run nonetheless. We've got Reese Linton coming through with a 0.882, so by 3 milliseconds, he's going to pip it for pole position. His Alpine teammate, a single, well, say a hundredth of a second behind, as we see a few more cars now. Sergio Sabrino coming up to the line, about a tenth up, projected P11, and it's going to be only P12 in the end. He's not quite going to get the full conversion he was looking for, and a few more cars. I believe that's Koya going to be coming up to the line with his teammate just behind. He is going to see a pretty marked improvement, but only enough for P14, as his teammate is not seeing an improvement here.
Yeah, no improvement there for Tiger Hardy. Now dropped down towards P7, was on provisional pole earlier on. We can see as well our championship leader, Mirko Soriano, is not on a lap, I don't believe, and he's not having the best qualifying session at all here. Opening at front, we can see as well last week's pole sitter, Joost Noornijk in P9 as well, so not the best for him so far here in qualifying. So they've both got to find lots of time on their next runs, and also quite a surprise to see Julian Klaffenbach so far down. Normally he's fighting for that pole or even in that top 5. He's now down in P11, just behind the back of Mirko Soriano. So the Ferraris and the Haas is struggling here tonight at the moment in qualifying, and while we can see there, the gap between first down towards P8 is just over a tenth of a second, so very close here tonight in qualified, and that is a great thing to see, isn't it, Sappy?
Yeah, and I'm looking at some of the times here, thinking things like track evolution. I think it's safe to say that unless you are in the 0.8s, you are going to be looking around the mid-pack. I think the brutal reality of it is, as the track gets faster, as drivers get more acclimatized to the conditions they're later going to race in, you're going to see those times massively drop. So right now, the mid-pack is sitting right the 128.0 mark, but that is going to drop relatively soon. I think 27.8 is the time you want to be looking for, because no doubt... In fact, I think we're going to see quite a few 0.7s. I think we're going to see drivers really push the envelope in the last lap.
I think it's more than possible, but we know that at the start of a session, normally drivers tend to take it a bit more... I wouldn't say slowly, but take it with a bit more caution just to get themselves a lap on the board, and then the second run they push harder than the third run. You've got nothing to lose, push as hard as you can to get the best lap on the board. As we can see, Theo McKee once again on a lap time heading down in towards the first couple of corners. Obviously he's on a 1 minute 28.442. That's nearly, what, 6 tenths off, sorry, from the fastest time. So he needs to find a lot of time on this next one. Heading down towards turn 4 and 5. Now we'll see what he can do in that first sector. He's up by only half a tenth of a second. So if he's made a mistake here, Sappy, it's looking like it was made in that middle sector.
I think, honestly, the first sector is where you're going to have most of the time gain or loss. It sets you up on your lap. It sets you up for Mistral. And if you mess up the exit, you're not going to have the pace and carry it through that straight. So while there is certainly time to be gained through all the sectors, I think the important one is sector 1. But saying that, he made up a half a tenth in the first sector. He's up to now 2 tenths, just about, in the second sector. Third sector, he can really nail this here. He takes a little bit of a wide arc, but snaps it right back in tight as we go through the final few corners here. So turn 12. Going to be a little bit wide of the apex. Not ideal for him there, but I think he's trying to carry a bit more speed. Let's see how he can do. But no, he's going to be heading into the pits. He's going to abandon despite the time improvement. It just wasn't good enough. I think he's just trying to race out to get out before the checkered flag.
Yeah, well, I think another thing to notice was that in his second sector, yes, he was up by 2/10, but that would barely put him just ahead of Jan Halliday in P17. You know, we needed to find at least 3/10 in that final sector there. So I think, you know, all he knows is he's got the pace. You know, we've seen it before, so he's just going to head back into the pit lane, get himself a brand new set of softs on, and go out at the last second and try and get the best lap due to track evolution. I think that's the thing that Fionn McKeith will be hoping for here at this point. But we've got now many more drivers heading out on their out laps to begin their final runs here of qualifying. We've got Lillian Debecourt, who's just headed out the pit lane now. He'll be heading down towards turn number 1, and Fionn McKeith still yet to venture back out for his final run of the session. It will be Camel Sasha that leads the pack off for the final runs, and also a surprise to see him so far down in P15 on a 1 minute 28.144. I expect to see him a little bit higher than that once these final runs get underway. But I said earlier that Max and Bradley, I was keeping my eye on them, and Max is doing a brilliant job in P2, only losing that provisional pole by 0.003 of a second to Reese Linton, who's at the top, and Lenny Pinter also in P3. And well, Reese and Lenny especially are fighting for second in the championship at this point. And well, they're still fighting for first, but you know, statistically where they are, there's only 4 points I think separating those two. So they need to be battling for position, even though they're in the same team. We know that teams don't really mean too much here, do they?
It's like we sometimes say in sport, I say the most important game is the home game. The away, you can always worry about later. So they are going to certainly be in close quarters, and they are going to lock horns, no doubt, throughout the entire season here. We've seen it, and we're going to continue to see it. But a lot of drivers have an opportunity to improve here. I do have a bit of concern for Fionn McKeith, because when he runs, he's going to be in almost peak traffic at points. So he's kind of done a little bit of an alternative strategy. It hasn't formed in his favour because he did mess up that first lap, and he has not getting the time gain that he wanted. But someone we are on board with right now, who does have a bit of time to make up, Camel Statra. Let's see what he can do here. Coming out the first sector, a 10th down. Coming up to Mistral, and see Jan Halliday getting 5 place grid penalty to add to the illegal blocking and the lobby restarts. And Sergio Sabrina's going to join him. But Statra now heading down to Mistral, just braking as late as he can, really skipping the curves, and that's an invalidation. He's going to be in trouble. Statra's P15 at best. At worst, he could drop all the way down.
That's him done, isn't it? And I think, you know, Liam and Jan and Fionn only need a smaller bit of improvement, but we'll see what Mirko can do. Fionn won't make the line. Mirko's up by a 10th in that middle sector. That's also not really enough of what he needs, is it? Mirko still needs another 2/10 in that final sector here, so this is still looking touch and go for Mirko, and you're starting to think now is many other people got to find improvements here, because people are looking to struggle.
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of a struggle going on here. I think drivers at this point are just going to concede the time gains they have, hope they can make the most of what's in their possession. So a 10th up is still on potential at this point in time to put him around P5, P6. So he's going to have a little bit of a gain there, but it's about whether it's going to stay. But saying that, absolutely nails it in the final sector. That's going to be a 0.802. The track evolution is coming into play. Leo Lund's coming across the line now. A few more cars going to be flying through here. We're going to see a bit of jumps. Reese Linton, unfortunately, not making the cut. We're on board with Grosh Pointer. As you can see, his teammate Bradley Holdham goes 6th fastest. You've got Pip Hinter, 0.774. Is that going to be pipped by Grosh Pointer? No, it's 0.825. Koya going to be coming up to the line soon. Tycho Hardy, no improvement. You've got Liam Stevens up into P11. Then there's going to be Jus Nordijk going into P6, and the Aston of that is Jan Halliday into P7. Let's see what can this McLaren do. One of the last one on the field, Sergio Sabrino, no improvement. Koya only P14. Debecourt, last one, is going to be 5th. An amazing improvement from Debecourt. But that is your order, ladies and gentlemen. That is time. And that is quali here tonight. So let's take a look at the standings real quick and see what we've got. Pipinta, with a great lap at the end, is going to pip Soriano for pole position. And he's going to line up alongside the Ferrari in the front row. Klampenbach, meanwhile, alongside Grosh Pointer in row 2. Debecourt and Linton With the third row, Jus Nordyke and Jan Halliday making P7 and P8, and then 9 through 10, you have Williams and Alpha alongside, say, Shimon and Bradley Holdham in the Sauber there. You got Leland, Joris Crutzen, Taika Hardy, Liam Stevens, Daniel Koya, Sergio Sobrino, Camille Statra, Fionn McKee, Kai Pearson, and Nico Benz, unfortunately not making it to the end of the session. So we got a decent sort of spread, a few big winners and a few losers coming out of that session there.
Of course, and of course we do have the mandatory restart, so we'll have a bit of a break and then we'll be back soon. Just got to try and get everything sorted. I'm going to host a session, so I'm going to be running around now for the next 2 minutes trying to make sure everything's working properly. And if any drivers are in the chat now, please, if you got the word out from the session, put it in the Discord. Otherwise, we're in a bit of a not ideal scenario.
A little bit of a pickle, but we're going to take a quick moment. And while we do that, I'm going to check out, a quick word from some of our good friends at Sim Racing Centre and GT Omega. And we're back, folks. We are back. Welcome back, everybody. So, that was an interesting qualifying session. I mean, great driving from a lot of cars out there. Big win for Lenny Papinta. Big win there for him. Remember, he is
very good job.
4th in the standings, and he has just got a big swing, big advantage. Reese Linton, his teammate in the Alpine, 5th fastest as well. That particular suit, it's looking like a very good day for them.
It is indeed, and I think, the qualifying I think around here makes a lot of difference, but I'd say it's also not it's a hard one, isn't it? Because we know with how long the straights are on this circuit, you can make many moves if you qualify further down, but being at the front still gives you that slight advantage, and also I think a very good mental advantage, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a mental game, and that's sometimes something that's neglected over the course of, say, league racing, sim racing. It is the mind games. It's the mechanical skill, the racecraft, but also, in a way, well, say, to put it crudely, it's about juking your opponents, about sort of pressuring them, almost making them make their own mistakes, which you can then capitalize on. That's, say, the racecraft is not necessarily about forcing yourself into a position you don't belong, because that's not racecraft. That's just being too aggressive. What racecraft truly is understanding your scenario, fighting your opponents within your means, and while not being too aggressive, you put on just the right amount of pressure to keep yourself safe, while simultaneously making it as difficult as possible for your opponents. I always say this when you have drivers who are caught between two other cars. Let's say they are P6 and they're stuck between P5 and P7. Racecraft is about knowing the balance of attack and defense, knowing when's the right time to attack, when's the right time to hold back, and that way you're not caught and completely out of luck by either, say, your opponent getting away from you ahead or being attacked from behind because you made a bad move and it didn't work.
Yeah, I think, I didn't have a clue what you said because I was trying to set up the lobby at the same time. So I was listening with one ear and the other ear was looking at Discord. Well, not the other ear, but my
just
other
in
eye.
case, tell me the whole thing again. I wasn't listening. You heard it here first. You heard it here first, folks. He doesn't listen to me. Best commentator duo, doesn't even care.
If the drivers came forward to host the lobby, then I wouldn't need to be doing any of this. But yes, we've got 16 of them in. Then once we've got all 20, I'll set the lobby up and hopefully everyone's in the right qualifying position and then we'll get underway. And then I'll be at full focus up. You can say what you want then. I'll be there listening. But in general, I think qualifying was brilliant. The gaps were quite close, which is brilliant to see. We've also got many of the drivers fighting at the top, which I think is, I think it's brilliant, and I think it's much needed here in this tier because we've seen a lot of Mirko this season. And it's nice to see a few more drivers getting themselves up towards that top and trying to take that battle down for the top position in the championship.
Yeah, and if we reflect back on some of our top championship runners and where they currently sit in qualifying tonight, we have got Papinta in P4 in the standings, but first in quali, followed by Mirko in P2, and then I believe that was that Just? I believe it was Yost in P3, the .812. Then you've got a couple of other drivers to keep an eye out for. So, I mean, the Sauber duo looking very strong. Oldham in particular, I've got my eye on and say, well, he only achieved P9 in qualifying here. He certainly has the pace to put some good points on the board. Same goes with Derbycourt. Same goes with Ian Halliday. We saw a big swing in the sort of dying moments of the session. Funnily enough, the 7th position is the same place that he qualified. So a little bit of a sort of, well, we call it rhymes when it's in writing, but I'm not sure what the sim racing equivalent of that would be.
I don't have a clue either.
Never mind. But
sorry, I'm just trying to sort this out, and I can't do anything at once. I'm very sorry, Safi.
It's all right. But we say a reminder of the track that we are dealing with tonight, folks, is Le Castellet, aka Circuit Paul Ricard, and it's 15 corners, 3.6 miles of, say, sort of tight twisting left rights, followed by intermittent straights and a few decent overtaking opportunities. Now, this sort of caught a little bit of flack in a real life counterpart, but in sim racing at least, I actually rate it. I rate it as a good track. Like Castellet, say what you will about it, but I think it is a pretty solid track when it comes to the game.
I've always rated it in general. I think even in real life, this track is brilliant. I think it should not have been removed from the calendar one bit. I think we all know tracks that should have definitely been removed from the calendar. And in my eyes, Le Castellet, Circuit de Paul Ricard definitely was not one of them.
Yep, and you can see some of the tracks that we've got lined up for the second half of this season, folks. So we've got Portugal, followed by Azerbaijan, then the Netherlands, Brazil, and Texas to finish. I find it curious that Texas is our finishing track, but I like that it's something a little bit different. Usually you see it's either Abu Dhabi or Brazil, but Texas as a finisher, I like it. It's something fresh. It's something a little bit unique. And then, I mean, I'm a sucker for Portimao. That is my track. If I had to put my heart to any track, it would be that one, to be honest. So, I don't know. Let us know in the chat who or what track you think is going to produce the best racing action, and just your favourite track in general. We are moments away, folks, from getting into the race good and proper. Lobby is set. Drivers are primed. Who are we keeping an eye on tonight?
Mirko. I think he's the guy we should definitely be keeping the most eye on, being as, he's leading the championship, he's qualified second. But Lenny will also be looking to get himself involved with things, looking to try and get himself a victory, because I think that's one thing he needs to try and launch himself into more of a championship battle.
Yeah, and there's a good few opportunities for some of these drivers to get into some really good points here tonight. We've seen a bit of chopping and changing. We've seen a little bit of sort of drivers where maybe they should be a bit further up on the qualifying order, but simultaneously, we know a lot of these drivers here who maybe don't always qualify the best, they convert it when it comes to the race. Like, it's the racing, and maybe they've even just set their car up to be a bit more of a stable platform, so sacrificing peak pace in order to keep more consistency. That is a setup strategy that I know a few drivers use.
Yeah, well, I know that, a lot of drivers like to use the statements of either they're a race merchant or a quali merchant. It's one of the two. You're never good in both, you're just good in one of them. And I think we've seen that during the season. I think the main thing we saw is the fact that people who struggle in qualifying tend to really fly in the race, and their pace in the race is top 3, top 5 pace. But in qualifying, some of them could be near the back.
Yeah, and that is kind of an interesting dichotomy that we have to sort of work with when it comes to this, well, say like sim racing, league racing in general, is that you do have drivers that thrive on the one lap pace, that thrive on the situation of sort of being put against the wall. And what you end up getting is drivers who simultaneously have not necessarily got the highest peak pace, but if it's a 27 that you can get consistently versus a 26 that you get once in every 5 laps, when it comes to the race, I know which one I'm picking.
Yeah, indeed. And, well, we've got a very good race underway shortly. You're just waiting for everyone to get themselves sorted, or get themselves the best, get themselves the right setups on, have the right strategy on, speak with their engineers, get all of that stuff out the way ready for what's going to be a brilliant race. I believe it's 27 laps, isn't it, around this circuit, Sappy? And it is going to be full dry the whole time.
Yep, 27 laps, full dry. We had got the weather confirmed. It's going to be a good race ahead. So, once again, in the chat, let us know who you're keeping your eye on. And we are about to go hot here. It is 5 red lights. The track is hot here in La Castellet. And it is away. It is go time. And immediately, Pepinta with a really good getaway. Mirko Soriano trying to tuck in behind. Klampbock also going to try and get alongside that Ferrari. As you see, 2 by 2 Noah's Ark style. They're going to go all in. That Haas is going to be right alongside the Ferrari. Both Ferrari PUs and both of them looking to lock horns here. Say a few more cars. Hold'em and Lekomsky. As you can see, 2, 3 potentially wide heading into this mid-pack. A little bit of backing up, bumping into the rear of each other. You can see Crossen going for a little bit of a look in on the apex, but it's just not quite going to materialize for him yet, and drivers are just fighting for any kind of space. And as the track starts to constrict and we get to the Mistral Straight, everyone is just trying to get a semblance of formation before we head into these next couple of laps.
Yeah, many people looking to make moves here, with many moves being made further back in the field, but we can see Lenny Pepinta leads ahead of Julian Klaffenbach in second place, and Mirko Soriano round out the podium at this current point. And we can see as well Lilian Debacor looking for a move ahead of Max Grosjean, and goes to the outside as they head in towards turn 10 and turn 11. He'll get blocked up a little bit there by the Ferrari and Mirko. We can see Julian there going to the inside to defend or trying to attack on the back of Lenny Pepinta. We can still see Lenny on the outside, Lilian on the outside of Max as they head into turn 13, and Lilian going to try and make 2 moves into one corner, gets a move done ahead of Max. Couldn't quite get himself ahead of Mirko, but he's looking to close in and still looking to try and make a move here. But Max also still looking to try and get ahead here of the Avatarian towards the final corner.
It was a pretty clean move from Debacor there. A little bit optimistic, I think, going for the double, but he did secure that P4, which is the part that matters for him here. And he's going to see a little bit of challenge coming from Grospointer, but he's got bigger problems to deal with. You can see Linton is going to be right behind him, breathing down his neck, figuratively, as we see him go into lap 2 here. That Alpine is not going anywhere.
Definitely not, as they head in towards turn number 3, and you can see Reese this time backing out a little bit as they head in towards this next braking zone. Kai Pearson having a good start, started down in P19, is currently in the top 14 due to starting on the soft tyre compound, and Kamil Stachera, very poor start for him, already down to P20, and he's also on the softest compound of tyres. So many mistakes being made there by Kamil to, last week, completely different driver, won it. Been pretty, well, I wouldn't say dominance, but he was very, very quick on the circuit in Canada, and they're looking to face no point at all here in France. We can see, though, yet again near the front, we can see Lilian looking to press on the back of Mirko Soriano as they head down towards turn number 11, and also Reece Linton yet again looking to push after the back of Max Grosjean as they head down now in towards these next couple of corners. And we can see as well Julian Klaffenbach looking to try and take the lead at some points on the back of Lenny Pepinta as they head up in towards turn number 13 yet again. And with Julian being forced to try and make a move for 1 point, he puts Mirko right on his tail.
Yeah, Mirko is just lying in wait right now. He doesn't need to pressure too hard. This is what we're saying in the attack and defense balance. Debacor is right behind, but if Soriano just keeps to his line, he stays in his lane, he lets the race and the track stabilize. They're all on the same tire. No one has an inherent advantage. And once the DRS starts going, he can use his opponents. But saying that, there's going to be some big issues as Kai Pearson goes from P14 down to P20. Oh, saying that, Stasher is in the pits here. What just happened with Pearson? Did he go off track? Because he's got 10 seconds for corner cutting. So he must have maybe diverted from an incident, maybe.
No, he was stopped on the circuit. He was spun round and he cut the track at the exit of the final corner to just cut back on, and it's giving 10 seconds for some reason. We can see further ahead as well, that was Lekomsky hitting the back of Jan Halliday. Tiger Hardy getting caught up in that one. Lost the position to Bradley, has got the position back. We can see as well Leo Lund looking to make a move to get himself in towards P11 as they head down now in towards turn number 8 and 9 once again. Can Leo find a move? No, he can't. He's just still a little bit too far back as they head down in towards that next corner. Further ahead, we can see Joost Noordijk now looking to try and close in and get himself ahead of Reece Linton, who's still in P6. Reece will be looking to make many moves in this race. P6 is nowhere near where we expect to see Reece. We expect to see him fighting for the win, not fighting for the top 5. We can see once again Mirko Soriano looking to hunt down the back of Julian Klaffenbach, but Julian can't get a move ahead of Lenny. That's why he's stuck behind Mirko. That's why Mirko's able to put so much pressure on him here.
Well, until the DRS opens, a lot of these cars are kind of in a stalemate. You can see them trading positions, and then they're just going to return them straight back again. either with the use of ERS or just pushing a little bit harder. You've got a few more cars who are looking for opportunities, but the DRS is going to be opened in just a short moment, and that is when the drivers are really going to be setting them up for themselves. I am concerned, though, because you've got the two soft runners theoretically on strategy to make up points early, make up positions early, and then pit in to kind of outrun and outpace over a longer period on the hards. They're both in P19 and 20.
Yeah, and with the penalty for Kai and the pit stop being made for Camille, that's just really not worked at all for their strategy whatsoever. And I also don't think here that Tycho and Daniel Lamedius will help. I think they might be struggling at the end because of their tyres having to go either so long or so short in this race. So I think, yeah, they could be in a bit of a compromised position once the final part of this race gets away. But we can see at the front once again, Julian just sitting behind the back of Lenny, not even thinking about making a move in towards turn 8. But now we can see yet again Mirko looking to get a move. We've got Lillian looking to gain in as well on the back of Mirko, and then behind him is Max Grosspointner in P5. Then we have Reese and Joost in P6 and P7, followed by Jan, Shimon and Tycho Hardy at the top 10. We can see there Tycho looking to make a move in towards turn number 10. He goes up the inside here ahead of Lukomsky. Can he get the move done? He doesn't quite. Lukomsky goes off the circuit. Tycho does get the move ahead. We'll see if Tycho has to let him through for that one, because it did look like he pushed the Williams a little bit further off the track than he should have done. But I think for now that is all done and dusted, and we can see yet again Nordyke looking to make a move ahead here of Rieslington, who's looking to struggle in that final sector.
Yeah, I think he's trying to analyse his opponent's weakness to see where he can potentially go for a move. They both got DRS, so there's not going to be much opportunities gained here, and we can see Linton going for a little bit of the battery too to try and get a bit of breathing room against the Haas there, but it's not really going to matter to anything much because Nordyke just seems more locked in through these corners. He seems a lot more gripped up, he seems a lot more comfortable with his car, and for better or worse, he's already right back on the tail of that Alpine.
Yeah, Linton's looking to struggle here, as we can see further back there. Jan Hardy defending from Tycho Hardy. That's for P8 and P9. But I want to see here, what can Joost Nordyke do here? Pulls to the inside of Reese Linton, and he'll be going alongside the Alpine as they head down towards turn number 8. Who will make a move? Will it be Nordyke who makes it? No, he backs off for now. He knows that Linton's got a bit too much speed being carried into the corner. There's no point trying to make an overtake there and possibly lose themselves time to those ahead. We can see yet again, though, Nordyke's alongside the Alpine. Bit of contact in towards turn 10 they go, and still Linton keeps the move ahead. And these two, bit of a personal battle between these, as they was the ones who crashed back in Austria for P1 and P2. So I think Nordyke will be extra, wanting to get that move done on Reese rather than just sitting behind the back of the Alpine. Looks to send it into turn 13, just couldn't quite get the move done. And the issue he has now is Jan Hardy is ready to pounce behind.
Yeah, I think there's certainly a chip on the shoulder for both of these two. So when they're going to come to scrap, they are going to be really going at it. And I'm looking at these two. I'm looking at where maybe, say, Joost looking to yield. But simultaneously, you saw him go through the second half of the straight. That was pure strategy. He was looking to see where he would come out by the end of it all. And he would have come out on the outside. He would have come out not on the apex of the following 3 corners. So tactically bowing out was the wise move there. But I wonder as to the level of aggression of some of these drivers, because no move is worth a contact. Keep your nose clean before you lose it, because that's a pit lane.
Indeed, and that's then probably no points being scored for yourself, or maybe other drivers around you as well. But we can see once again, heading down towards turn number 8 and 9, as much as we can see Joost looking to make a move ahead from Reese. For many moments there we saw Julian look to make a move ahead of Lenny Papinta, but just backs off at the last second, heading in towards turn number 8. And this is very good here for Julian, because he can save up a little bit of battery, just like Lenny and Mirko can as well, sitting in P1 and P3. And we can see as well Lilian Devico looking to try and make some moves to get on with it, but he has to tuck back in behind Mirko Soriano as they head now in towards turn number 10 and turn number 11. We can see as well further back Leo Lund looking to apply pressure onto the rear of Bradley Holdham as they head up the hill. I see there we can see a Red Bull looking to fight with the Sabre, and then we can see as well yet again Joost Nordyke looking to fight and battle it out with Rieslington, who's actually losing lots of time. That gap there, 7.5 tenths of a second, so I'm not sure if Reese and Joost got to a bit of battling earlier on in this lap.
Yeah, maybe they have locked to horns a little bit over the course of this session. I'm looking at some of the tyre strategies as well, and I can't help but notice those who are on mediums are kind of stuck in the middle. I know you briefly mentioned it earlier about going very long or very short on them. You can make a soft medium work, but you have to really manage the compounds to the point that to be honest, the pace difference, at least in the experience that I've seen, is negligible. Like, you have to manage those tires and really be afraid of them in a roundabout way. But then if you go medium to hard, why not just go to soft hard and save yourself the trouble?
Yeah, I think that's I think the issue is drivers sometimes want to try something a bit different. Instead of going for the optimal thing that works, they just try something that could be brilliant rather than something that we know that already works. As we can see there, Bradley Holder making a move ahead of Shimon Lekomsky in towards turn number 8. Brilliant move there from the Sabre to get himself back into that top 10, and we can see as well his teammate Matt Scross putting that in that top 5 as well, doing a brilliant job for the team. As we can see yet again, Mirko Soriano getting ever so closer to the back of Julian Klaffenbach. Is he looking for a move here? Julian looks to take the lead ahead of Lenny. They go side by side in towards turn 11. Lenny's on the outside, Julian is on the inside. They're heading towards turn 13, and now it's back to Lenny on the inside and Julian on the outside, and Mirko looking to hook the corner up correctly to get the best run and try and make an attack on the 2. They still go side by side in towards the next corner, and Julian is forced into the position where he takes the lead ahead of Lenny. So now Lenny has got the DRS advantage rather than the Haas.
Yep, Mirko, just be patient. You don't need to get involved in this fight. Let the 2 scrap, and then you take up what is left. Bide your time. You're on the same strategy as them. They can burn each other out of the battery. You can sit it comfy. I think that's the thought process that he's going for here. It's why he didn't insert himself more into that fight. You can see him backing off, braking a little bit earlier than his opponent. And he's got to play it safe too, because Derbicore is just as much of a threat as those 2 up ahead.
Yeah, definitely. And we can see Derbicore looking to just gain in here and make a move on Mirko, but never quite close enough to the back of the Ferrari to make a move work. As we can see further down, Joris and Daniel fighting for P14. Of course, Daniel on the medium tyres looking to now start to lose a bit of pace on those yellow walled tyres, and the hards looking to be a little bit more stronger here. As we can see Lenny Pipinta once again take the lead back away from Klaffenbach, and Mirko look to gain in to try and make a move for P2. It actually looks like this time he went for a move in towards turn number 8 and 9, but just couldn't quite get it to stick on the outside line. This time he's pushing, looking to make a move, but yet again not close enough to be forced to make a move. But he's getting in quickly. He's ahead now in towards turn number 10 and 11. We can see yet again Julian goes to the outside, Lenny defends the inside. Mirko has to go around the outside here on the back of the Haas. Can he get the move done? No, he can't. Julian places the car perfectly through that part of the circuit, and still Lenny leads. Julian's in second, and Mirko stuck in third place, looking to try and fight for second, but can never find a move ahead here.
Yeah, he can burn his battery a little bit if he really wanted to get past them, but I think his purpose right now is just putting pressure on Klaffenbach and Pipinta himself. Say you got your Snordike going on the inside of Reese Linton. They're going to be taking a drag race into the first corner. Linton is going to have the apex through turn 1, but of course Yost can have through the next couple of corners. The question is who's going to come out on top. Yost is actually going to be the one to drop back into P7, because that first 2 corners is pretty much guaranteed to be single file. You go double file across there, one of you is not going to be happy.
Yep, definitely. It's a horrible first couple of corners to battle in, then obviously 3 and 4, it's a little bit more easier to go side by side. But yet again this time, because Lenny's actually dragged that gap out to Julian. 7/10 now as they head down towards turn number 8, and Joost Noordijk, it seems a little bit slower in the straights compared to Reese, and that's why he's probably losing time on that back straight. You can see there how much time he's losing. He's lost nearly 1/10 of a second along that straight alone here, and that's also something that it seems Jan Harde is also suffering with as well. And we can see once again though they head down towards turn number 10 and 11, and Mirko always close to the back of Julian, but this time around not as close as he has been on other occasions. So he's just sitting back for now as they head down in towards the next few corners. And we can see word there for Miona saying that he thinks that Reese might have a little bit of damage due to contact between him and Max.
Yeah, and if there is a bit of damage, then we would obviously have a very different problem on our hands. I'm not picking up anything on my end, but saying that, I'm not getting a full data export, so I can't say for sure. Joost, though, is going to continue his pressure, and they're going to be the 2 drivers once again locking horns for 2 rounds now. These 2 are absolutely getting up in each other's grill, and I'm sure they're both impatient. I'm sure they've, to put it crudely, they're sick of each other. They just want to get around one another. They just want to go and have their race now, and neither of them wants to be stuck fighting. They want to be pushing up into the higher positions. But now Joost has got a little bit of a different problem on his hands in the form of an AMR 23 called Jan Halliday.
Yes, which is there looking to try and make moves along with Tiger Hardy as well. In P9 is McLaren actually looking to push and get past the back of Jan here as they head down towards turn number 8, but this time not quite close enough. But the leading 3 still is what it has been pretty much all race, with Lenny, Julian and Mirko, and still Lillian and Max in the top 5. Reese and Yost still looking to get to Baston multiple times in this race, but yet to be made, yet for Yost to make a move ahead here of the Alpine. He looks to gain on corners, but along the straight he loses a lot of time here. You can see yet again losing nearly a 10th along this straight on the back of Reese Linton compared to in the corners. He gains a lot more time on the back of Reese Linton as they all head through now towards turns 10 and 11. And you can see Mirko looking to still close in on the back of Clapham Park, but just never close enough to make a move here. We can see further down as well. Looks like Nico Ben started last on the hards, now up into P13, so he's having a very good race so far here in the Aston Martin on some decent pace, so he could also be looking to try and make a late race charge and get himself into some decent points. I don't believe he's scored many points at all since his podium back in Australia, which is on round 1. We're now here for round 7, so round 6, sorry, so he's got a lot of work to do to try and get some points here in this championship. Same as Joris, I don't believe he scored any points at all in this season, along with Leo Lund, so those two also going to be hungry to try and fight for some points in this F2 Championship. And Lillian as well, I believe we've not seen too much of him these past couple of rounds, so coming back in some 5-4 form here. It's the AlphaTauri in P4 looking to still fight for a podium position here, but Max Grossputtner also looking to close in as well.
Yeah, this group of P3 to P5 has been hanging in close proximity for quite a few laps now, in the same way that Mirko has been trying to close the gap to P2 and eventually P1. I still remain resolute that he's playing a bit more of a patient strategy. He's not going too high risk, and he's letting the two ahead of them fight before wearing each other out. Because the track and the tyre degradation is going to be a factor in all of this. If they keep pushing and going for moves on one another, they are going to burn the tyres that little bit faster, which means they're going to be out of prime faster. Derbicourt potentially looking for an opportunity on that Ferrari there. He's going to be going side by side with him into the 3rd sector here. They're going to be drag racing it out. So Derbicourt trying to put it alongside, but it's not quite going to be the one this time. Big winners and losers tonight is going to be, I gotta say, as you say, Nico Benz up +7. Tycho Hardy as well, another one who's put in some good work. Reese Linton, though, has been overtaken by Nordyke, but Nordyke is now on the teetering edge of a second.
Yep, as we can see, Kai Pearson heading towards a pit lane with a penalty. But surely there, Reese Linton's got damage. I could see him heading in towards that final corner. He has to really push the car through. He has a lot of understeer there in that car. So I think he's definitely got some front wing damage from a bit of contact earlier on. Hence why he's lost so much time and also, for a second, got them out of that 1 second DRS gap. So it's good that Yost has got the move ahead of Reese and he's just looking to push ahead.
No front wing swap. No front wing.
Oh, so Kai just... I'm surprised he's going to carry on, being as he got, he's got that 10-second penalty that will be removed, but he's also got a 5-second penalty as well due to speeding in the pit. So I thought that might be Kai done, but no, he's going to continue along. As we can see, Jan Hardy now looking to make a move ahead of Reese Linton for P7. To the inside goes the Aston Martin and gets himself ahead of the Alpine. Sorry, is ahead now in towards turn number 8 and turn number 9. We can see as well Simon Lekomsky looking to try and gain in as well and get himself into a top 80 position to eliminate Reese Linton. One more position down, and this is the last thing here that Reese Linton needs. As we can see yet again, Mirko looking to make moves at the front, going around the outside this time of Klaffenbach. And Klaffenbach's still at the inside, and Lenny Papinta just sitting there watching it all. Well, not really watching it all happen. He's Ray Wings watching it all happen behind. Yeah,
putting on the good fight. Say both P2 and P3 are in a heated battle now. Papinta just needs to keep his nose clean and keep his distance, even if it means burning a little bit of battery. Getting involved in the fight is just going to make them lose even more time. So he has to be a bit more careful. He is going to be in an awkward situation if he gets involved with that. But you can see Linton and Lund both heading into the pits now for their pit stops. And we're going to see if Linton actually does need a bit of a repair or not. You see jumping into the pits. Curiously, again, maybe it's floor damage because no wing replacement.
Yeah, so Reese will continue on, obviously, now with a new set of medium tyres to take him all the way to the end of this race, along with, of course, Leo Lund. So very early pit stops there for those two on the hards. So mediums it will be for those to carry to the end. But we can see, yet again, Mirko looking to gain in on the back of Julian. But as much as that's happening, we can see as well Max Grossputtner looking to make a move here on the back of Lillian Derbicourt. He's gaining in in towards turn number 8 and 9. Is he going to look to make a move ahead of the AlphaTauri? He's looking to gain in, but just not quite close enough there as they head down in towards his next section of circuit. We can see Joost Noordijk as well there, being overtaken by Jan Halliday, and that they've actually been broken away from that top 5 pack. So big shame for those guys, but we can see Max Grossbutner looking to gain in here and make a move ahead of Lillian as they head in towards turn number 10, turn number 11. To the inside goes the Sabre car, keeps it to the inside. Has he quite got the run though into the corner? He had to put us a little bit more on the power there to get himself with a bit more momentum to carry through. Bit of contact. Lillian's on the inside at turn number 12. Lillian gets a bit more of a launch ahead of Max. Max gets a better run on the exit, but he's not quite close enough to make a move yet again ahead of the AlphaTauri here. But these two looking to get hell to nail to fight for that P4. It actually looks like Max is going to pit here along with Mirko and Lenny.
Sauber looking like a rocket, but just putting up enough pressure before heading into the pits. Almost bait and switching in a way, which has done well to serve him and sort of almost duke out the AlphaTauri he was combating with. So now Klaffenbach and Derbycore both out in a space of their own. It's going to be a little bit awkward for one driver in particular through all of this. That's Tycho Hardy, because now he's left completely out of dry. He's not go DRS to speak of at all. And the problem here is that now Hold'em and Benz are just going to catch up.
Yeah, and I think these lot here could... It depends. They might either go and pit in the next couple of laps, or if they want to, they might go a little bit longer, you know, to try and make some sort of advantage once they get to the end of the race. So it's going to be a bit of a question of what those guys in that mid-pack choose to do. And we can see Julian Klaffenbach there reaching that gap to over a second to Lillian Derbycore. So we'll see what that will do for their races and where they will end up once they make a pit stop soon. I expect Tycho and Daniel to be in the next couple of laps here. And then those on the hards, as I've said, some of them could be going a little bit longer to try and get a bit of an advantage towards the end. But the top 3 provisionally still Lenny, Mirko and... Sorry, it's Lenny, Mirko and Max this time around. So now Max Gross putting up into a P3 position provisionally. This is good for him if he can keep it just on the back of Mirko. I think, you know, Max hasn't been here for many races this season. I don't think he's got many points on the board at all. So a podium for him will be brilliant. Also, points for Leo Lund would also be very brilliant as well. He was looking for a top 4 back in Australia, had penalties and incidents since then. He's still yet to score a point here in this season. And Leo, I'd say, so far, Sappy, he's looked brilliant. Yeah,
it's really put the pace down and done a really good job of this season so far. I'm surely going to be keeping an eye on him. I've seen him in seasons past really put in work to try and improve. It's one of those cases where you see your driver progress through the tiers and really work on himself. 3-second penalty going to Koya for track limit violation, so he's going to be having a bit of a rough and tumble time. P6, but in the actual race, more like in the mid to lower pack, that's just going to be insult to injury there. But you've got a few drivers staying out, 14 laps on the mediums, so very soon the drivers are going to have to pit in. The McLaren drivers, though, they're both on mediums, they're both on 14s. I'm surprised one of them hasn't pitted, because this is going to get into either the realm of double stack or the realm of significant pace drop-off.
Yeah, I think it looks like here they could be going for probably a set of soft tyres here. As you can see, Daniel Kaya there make a move ahead of Theo McKee for P6 and P7 here in this race. Obviously, a penalty here for Daniel, definitely not what he would have wanted in this race as well. As we can see, Bradley Hold'em take the lead of the race as they head down in towards the next few corners, and Tycho looking to make battle here along with Nico Benz as well. I don't know what they're battling much for, because they've got to pit probably in the next 3 or 4 laps, so the battling's going to lose them too much time here, so they need to just keep themselves in this trend together, pull themselves along, as we can see Jan Halliday make a move ahead of Kai Pearson down near the rear of the field. Joost Noordijk also making a move ahead of Kai Pearson as well for P16 at this current point. So we can see there Nico Benz making a pit stop here, and the others choosing to stay out, as we can see as well Liam Stevens though makes a pit stop. So Bradley will lead ahead of Tycho, ahead of Joris, ahead of Theon and Daniel.
Yeah, and so the field is chopping and changing, but one thing that remains constant is the fight for, well, I'd say the provisional lead of the race. Like, for instance, you have got the likes of Reece Linton. He's come out, he's 2 laps on the mediums now, so he's one of our earlier pitters, but he is being overtaken right now by Derbycore, and that is going to really affect the final order of things once everything comes out. You got Soriano, who is actually second in all of this. He's come out pretty well, because Klaffenbach has gone from P2 to P5 in this train.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's definitely not what he would have wanted. He's dropped down a little bit further than he would have liked to. But he's got the bit of pace, of course. But the issue is, once you're in a DRS train, there's nothing you can really do about pace. As we can see there, Tycho Hardy made the move ahead of Bradley Hold'em there for 1 and P2. We can see yet again Jan Harde looking to make a move ahead here of Reese Linton. Pulls to the inside, uses a bit of battery, does the Aston Martin. Reese will try and keep himself ahead, but surely Jan's going to send this. No, he backs off for now, knows that he's not going to send it. He makes a bit of contact there with the back of the Alpine as they head down in towards Nathan turn number 9, and a penalty there for Reese Linton. Now, I don't think that was due to contact. I think he got that after the contact. So we'll see if that penalty is legit for Reese Linton, where we can see yet again Tycho and Bradley still swapping at the front. They've surely got to be thinking about a pit stop sometime soon.
Yeah, so the Sauber and the McLaren really going at it, trying to fight for this P1 spot thus far. But Hold'em, he's going to go into the pits now. And this is the interesting balance I find between the hards and the mediums, because the hards are the tyres that you realistically, you want to spend as little time on them as possible. You want to use them to get the miles down to the point where you can use the tyre you actually want, which in this case, for most drivers, is the mediums. The only exception to that being seemingly both the McLarens, because Koya has just gone onto the softs after a medium stint, so the soft-medium strat is coming into effect, and I'm pretty sure Tycho Hardy is going to do something similar, but the pace drop-off, the balance, is often outweighed when you have something like the hards eating up the miles, so you can get the optimal stint or as much on the medium where you have that increased pace as possible. And how the drivers conserve their tyres is a big factor in that.
Yeah, of course. We'll see, though, what Tycho Hardy could do here. He could make the strategy work, but he might make it not work at all. So it's still a bit of a question mark here for Tycho Hardy and Daniel Kvyat, who is now made his pit stop onto a set of the soft tyres. We can see once again, though, Nordyke looking to make a move ahead here for the next position, being P9 here in this race ahead of Reese Linton, and Jan Harde still got a 1.7 second gap to the top 7, so he's also got to find some pace to try and unleash and get himself into more of a battle. We can see all these guys here, P2 down to P7, looking to make moves, looking to get around each other, as Bradley Hold'em gets a 3-second penalty. That's not ideal at all for his race, as we can see Klavenbach here looking to make a move ahead of Lund, but just couldn't quite snip himself up the inside in towards turn number 12. We'll look for it at turn 13 yet again. Can't find the move here. Leo Lund, some brilliant defences. We can see now Tycho Hardy make his pit stop, so now it will be Lenny who leads ahead of Mirko, ahead of Max.
And quite a switch up in all of this, because, hey, Bok is stuck. There's no other way to go around it. He is stuck. That overcut relative to his rivals has not worked out in his favour. So now we currently sit lap 18 of 27, 10 laps of racing to go, and he's just trying to get around back to where he was before the start of this tyre phase.
Yeah. As we can see, Tycho Hardy coming at the bottom of the train. He's got a lot of work to do, but he's got soft tyres to make it work. So Tycho here could be on a very good strategy if he can put his foot down early and get those key positions made in the start of this stint. That's what he's got to do. He can't afford to sit back. But we can see as well, all that battling has really promoted up Jan Harden, and that gap was 1.7 seconds. It's now 1.3 seconds, and the good thing for Jan is here that Reese Linton yet again right on the cusp of losing that 1 second gap, and Joost Noordijk just can't find a move. He pulls to the outside as Reese actually didn't have DRS down that straight. So now Joost Noordijk goes into P8, Reese down to P9. Reese Linton, he might not score points here tonight.
Yeah, he's kind of looking on the ropes. His battery's basically empty. He just had an opportunity stripped away from him and he didn't have the DRS. And it's looking like things are just going from bad to worse at this point in time. So I hope he has a race management strategy in mind. Klaffenbach is now up into P4 as we say that. He just gets past the Red Bull of Lund. But he hopefully has some kind of strategy in mind. He has got that penalty to his name, which is going to affect the result and the morale. But it's looking a bit difficult for him. Delvacourt and Lunslow are going to duke it out a little bit as the front of this grid is starting to chop and change in a quick way.
Indeed it is. We can see now Julian up into P4, Lillian up into P5 here in this race, and Leo looking to still gain back in, but really can't do much at all to gain back onto the rear of the Airfatera. We can see further ahead once again, Jan and Joost will be looking to work together here to try and bring that gap to the top 7 train down. We can see there, I think it was Sergio Sereno making a move ahead of Nico Benzet and Liam Stevens, who were fighting in their little train for P12, 13 and 14 at this current point. And still, the top 5 battle, well, the top 6 battle has been the same as it has been all race. But no one yet has really been able to find many moves, and none of them are really looking to fight for many moves, are they? They're happy where they are in their sitting positions. And we can see once again, Max looking to gain in on the back of Mirko, but not really making any effect on where he's in the position. We can see yet again Joost and Jan swapping position there, just trying to gain back in to that front train. But at the moment, there's nothing they can do here.
Yeah, so these two are going to trade spots, but as we've seen with the rest of the field, and as you rightly pointed out, nobody is going hyper aggressive to try and get some positions. We're at the stage of the race where everyone is locked into their strategy, everyone just wants to get some of the miles in, and they want to conserve themselves for the last few laps when they can really do any battle, and then make sure their opponent doesn't have a chance to counter. Because it's all well and good making a move, but that move has to stick, and DRS does play a major factor in this course, to where it's significantly likely that you are not going to make a move stick for longer than 2 laps in the current climate.
Yeah, because the person who you overtake could easily get you back if they burn a bit more battery and apply a bit more pace in their car. As we can see, Leo Lund looking to gain in onto the rear of Lillian D'Abercourt as they head through and towards turn number 1, but not really close enough yet to make a move on the back of the AlphaTauri as they head down in towards turn number 3 once again. And still, we can see Mirko on the rear of Lenny Papinta. That gap there, 0.4 of a whole second, as they head out of turn number 4, 5 and 6 now to prepare themselves yet again for another DRS zone down towards turn 8, obviously down that long Mistral straight. And Max Grosspartner here, he's in a very, very good position. I said earlier on he's a driver to keep our eyes on, and to be fair, he's doing a very, very good job.
Yeah, say the Sauber currently sitting in P3 is a little bit of a dark horse in this whole scenario. He's just kept his nose down. He has been pushing. He's been doing a good job of it. He's been a relatively no fuss, no drama driver. And what the result of that is that while we've been fixated on the battle for P1 through P3, P6 and P7, the battle between Nordyke and Linton, for instance, or a little bit further down the field, he's just silently crept his way up. He's played a strategy, he's played his hand. In a way, it's been almost formulaic how he's laid his cards on the table, saying, right, this is my hand, do you accept my bit? And some drivers took him up on it, others didn't, and the result is he's currently sat on a podium and looking very strong.
Indeed, and we'll see what he can do towards the end of this race. We can see further back, still yet again, Joost and Jan not really making any inroads in that battle, so I think they're stuck in their battle for P7 down. We can see Reece Linton looking to be overtaken here by Kai Pearson in towards turn number 1, and Kai into the top 10 here, doing a brilliant job so far. He's been a bit of a dark horse, hasn't he, so far in this race. He was down at the bottom earlier on, made his, made a mistake at the final corner with someone I believe he had contact with, and since then he's really just been pushing on and now looking to maybe fight for some points here in this race. We can see further back as well the likes of Daniel and Tycho not really making their strategy work here.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a strategic blunder from the both of them, both on the fact of one going on the same strategy to where I believe Tycho was really pushed out of an optimal window there. He had to really stretch those tyres further than they had any right to be stretched. And then also, just the fact that this is what we were saying earlier about the soft medium strat not being viable in terms of balancing tyre life to pace. It seems to be the case that they're in close proximity, and as we look at them and look at the rest of the field, pace relative, they are dropping off. Those softs are already starting to show a little bit of a struggle, which is the last thing that you want to be dealing with at this stage of the race, because now you're fretting about whether you're even going to make it to the end. They technically have the life, but do they have the pace to make your strat work? You got to a little bit of a movement further ahead, as you're going to see Grosspointer and Klaffenbach both come to blows. As you can see, Klaffenbach going much further out. He's going to go to the outlap, and he's going to come back swinging. He's going to contact real harshly with D'Abercourt, and Klaffenbach is not going to be happy as long as D'Abercourt is also pushing there. So D'Abercourt's kind of sort of swung in. He's not been a party to this conversation, and yet he's roped into the fight. He's had to get his elbows out just on a means of self-preservation because two drivers suddenly duking it out.
Yep, and we can see yet again D'Abercourt up the inside in towards turn number 4 and 5.
Bit aggressive there.
Off the circuit yet again gets a penalty. Leo Lund there looking to get involved with this battle, and that has brought everyone down to P15 into this train. No, sorry, the whole field is in the same train. Down to P18 is everyone involved in that long DRS train due to that battle between Max, Julian, Lillian and Leo Lund in the last couple of laps here. So far, this race is getting more and more entertaining as the laps get along, and we can have a massive battle here for the podium, for the victory here tonight. Leo Lund looking to gain in here to make a move ahead of Julian Klaffenbach, but just not quite close enough yet to try and get a move done for that P5 position. We can see Julian on the outside of Lillian, backs off for now, wants to get a better line into turn 11, but you can see Lillian knows where to go. He defends that inside very, very easily and very early to really stop any threat at all from Julian behind looking to make an attack.
Things are now in motion that cannot be undone as we come through to the final 5 laps and we see some drivers really start to stick the elbows out. They know that it's coming down to crunch time, and as drivers are going from the relatively static state of just charging their batteries, sticking in the trains, getting themselves ready, now we're starting to see some executes. We're seeing some drivers start to make those pushes. Like Lund, for instance, he's in P6 with a full battery. So he's got an opportunity now to really make a push. And he's already exemplifying that because Klaffenbach is under immense pressure.
Easy D. Leo Lund also looking to make a move yet again in towards the next couple of corners. We can see further ahead yet again. Lynn Devercourt looking to make moves.
Goes to the inside. Big contact.
Was that between Leo and Julian there?
Yeah, big contact there between the two. So they are very much making their presence known.
Indeed, and well, that's also allowing Jan Halliday to make his presence known along with Joost Noordijk. Noordijk now ahead of Halliday down towards turn number 8. So Joost looking to make some more positions here in these next few laps here as well. We can see Grosputny yet again looking to close in on the back of Soriano, but just not quite close enough yet to make that move ahead. But he will be looking for it as the laps unfold. 4 laps have to go here in this race, and so far, Sappy, anyone in around that top 6 here could take victory. That shows how close this grid is here tonight. Tonight, it's been so close. Qualifying, the race, everyone is on equal pace, it seems here.
Yeah, and it's looking like where there is equal pace, where there is balance, there are drivers who are trying to put every single resource into these next couple of laps. We're already seeing some executes, some going well, some not, and we are seeing drivers now gear up for the crucial final stint of the race. We've got just a few laps to go, and we're seeing drivers really pushing hard.
Linton.
Curiously, Linton into the pits. I'm not sure if he has any damage that he's having to resolve, but at this stage of the game, is it worth going in? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know why Linton has chosen to make a pit stop, but he's thinking that is the right idea to do. Onto a set of soft goes the Alpine, maybe looking to try and take the fastest lap away from the person who's got it at the moment, which I believe is, let's have a look who they've got the fast lap. It will be to Daniel Koya at this current position. So that's who's got the fastest lap in this race. At this current time, we can see yet again, though, Leo Lund looking to make a move ahead of Julian Klaffenbach for P5. But doesn't gain enough to try and close in. We can see Julian looking to gain in on the back of Lillian once again in towards turn number 8. Backs off at the last second there. And you can see Lillian there. He'll be a little bit under pressure here, not knowing if Julian will make a 10. We can see Kai Pearson with another penalty. This time it's a 3-second penalty, so ignoring the 10-second he had already, he's still got 8 seconds on the board here tonight. So a big shame for Kai Pearson, who's looking to try and get a couple of points here in this race. And yet again, Klaffenbach and Derbecourt come into, well, not come into contact, but come into blows. And we can see Lillian nearly hit the back of Max Grosputny there.
Yeah, a little bit rough and tumble. And this race really has been rough and tumble for Kai Pearson in particular. He didn't get a chance to quali. He's still put everything into this race. He's pushed as hard as he can. Has made it to the middle of the pack, which is very commendable. But between penalties and issues, tonight's race is just not gone his way. I do commend him, though, for sticking it out, for still putting it all on the track. And even when he's in a rough spot like this, 18 seconds on this board, whether all of them will stick, that's in the hands of the stewards. But he's got 18 seconds, and yet he continues to fight. That is respectable in and of itself.
Indeed, and we can see there Benz and Komsky get into contact into turn 1, and Nico Benz, what a race he's had so far. Started last, now into P9. Brilliant job here from the Aston Martin, trying to now look to close in onto the back of his teammate, Jan Halliday, as they head into towards turn 4 and 5, and Nico is on some very nice tyres compared to those ahead, so he could also be on for some many more positions here in this Grand Prix. We've got 2 laps or 3 laps left to go here in this race, and Lenny, he's just been chilling, hasn't he? He's done nothing at all apart from just lead this race. He's not battled or anything ahead of anyone at all tonight, so he's loving it in the lead. From sure, Sappy, in the next couple of laps, he will be very scared of all the cars behind looking to try and make moves ahead of him.
Amazingly, as you said that, Soriano got real close to the back of that Alpine. So it's kind of like sort of setting the trap. But Pepinter has done a real good job of just controlling the race at this point. He's not been overzealous with his lines. He's not been burning his battery too much to where he's run out of options. Soriano simultaneously has ability to conserve his battery, use the DRS as a recharge tool. Then Sabrino, with a 3-second penalty, is going to join the club of black and white flags. But with both of these two cars still being in very close proximity, the thing to keep in mind is that they're still on even keel but Siriano has a DRS advantage. So I wonder, is Pepinta going to defend heading into lap 26, or is he going to yield to swing back on the final?
We'll see what Lenny does here, and this is going to be key for probably how this race ends. But the issue is, if Mirko and Lenny start looking to set themselves up, Max and Lillian will be sitting there rubbing their hands, waiting for an opportunity. We can see there someone's made a mistake. That'll be Theo McKeek down at turn number 1. He's, I think, gone off there, had a bit of a spin or made contact with the driver in that section. But that's what we know. Mirko and Lenny can't sit together too long looking to decide who takes the lead, because Max and Lillian and Julian and Leo are all behind looking to try and close in and make moves themselves. So they won't be there to wait around and hang around. They were looking to try and push forward themselves. They head in towards the turn 8 at the Mistral straight, and still Lenny keeps his position ahead. And now what does Lenny do here? Does he let off, or does he go full speed here? You can see, heads down towards his next corner. He's seemingly happy with keeping that lead, even though he won't have DRS.
Well, the curious thing is Mirko had the speed and the opportunity to take the spot without using his battery, and he didn't take it. So the Ferrari is definitely queuing up for a final push down Mistral, or certainly locking in through Sector 3. He's leaving it right to the end, so very high-risk play here from Mirko. Let's see if it pays off.
We'll see what he does here. We could see Lenny for a second in towards turn 11 and 12 let off heavily in that section, so he knows he wants Mirko to go through, but Mirko's cleverer than that. You know, he's a top-tier driver. He knows what Lenny's plan is. So now we go on towards the final lap of this race. Lenny leads ahead of Mirko, Soriano ahead of Mats Grosput, and we'll see who can win this race. The top 5, the top 6 here, looking to fight for the podium, but Mirko is in the best position currently. You can see already push on the back of Lenny. They head down towards turn number 3. Surely, this by the time they get to turn 9, the Ferrari should be ahead of the Alpine.
Yep, and so this is where the trap has been laid, the mouse trap is sprung, and it's all going to fall into place. If he plays his cards right here, Soriano has got an easy win, but let's see if he can actually do it. He's got the DRS now. He's going to be tight to the back. They're going to burn everything on the battery. Pepinta knows what's up. He goes tight to the inside. Then he's going to try and swing back out, but Soriano just has the pace on him, and he's going to be getting past that Alpine at the end of Mistral. Now, second half. Pepinta has not given up yet, though. You can see he's tried to conserve his resources as best he can. He's on the overtake button just as quick as he can. Soriano goes inside, then he's going to go back out. Pepinta not got anywhere to go. He's not got the same pace. Tries to carry a bit more speed. Heading into the third sector now, right to the back. Contact front wing. That is going to be Pepinta almost forcing his way in there. They're going to be hard to the side. Gross Pointer and Derbical, you can see, sliding out hard. And then the final dying moments of this race is going to be a joust.
What about a whistle there between many drivers here on this grid, and it will be Mirko, it seems, looking to lead, but Lenny makes a last lap send, and he nearly goes right at Mirko still. I think keeps the position, he will. A bit of a last lap lunge didn't work for Lenny, but it will be Mirko Soriano who wins here in France, ahead of Lenny, ahead of Lillian Derbical, who got it on the final lap, ahead of Mats Grosput and Leo Lund in the top 5. What a battle we had towards the end of that race, and any of them could have come home with it, but it was Mirko ahead of Lenny, ahead of Lillian, and for a second, I was watching Lillian Derbical. What a start he had through that middle set. He was completely sideways through out of turn 11. I did not know how he kept it straight. I thought, right, he's going round there.
Yeah, and that was really high risk. That was extremely high risk. I think you say Pepinta pushing a bit too hard on the end, but they did duke it out right to the last corner. And the fighting spirit is absolutely there. And it is very commendable. Nico Ben's making a big win, but unfortunately he is going to see 5 seconds following the steward's report. So he is going to be dropping down to, I believe, that's going to be P10 for him, if my numbers serve right. And we see a few more drivers who, we'll see about the penalties. We'll see how it goes. But interestingly, Hold'em retires from the session? Did he not make it to the end?
No, it's because if you leave the session after and the race hasn't finished, it decides to mess up and DNF you, but he will get his points back.
Well, there you go. And let's say Camille about a minute behind. Just going to be coming up to finish there, but a tale of two halves for Ferrari. On the one hand, Camille has had a race to forget, but then Soriano has had a very strong race to remember.
Of course, indeed. What a race that was here tonight, and well, Mirko looking to extend that championship lead once again. We can see in a second the full classification of the race. well, once the game decides to load, we'll see the full classification of the race. But it was a brilliant race there by Ferrari to take the win ahead of Lenny in the Alpine, and then Lillian looking to bounce back in some fine form here in this championship ahead of Max Gross, putting her in P4. Leo Lund in the top 5, followed by Joost Noordijk, Nico Benz, Julian Klaffenbach with a poor strategy from his end, will be being P8 ahead of Liam Stevenson in 9th, and then Shimon Lekomsky in the top 10. Then we have Tiger Hardy in 11th, Joris Krozen in P12, Jan Holiday in P13, Sergio Sereno in 14th. Then we'll have Daniel Kaya in P15, followed by Theo McKee, Kai Pearson, and then we'll have Reese Linton, Camel, and Bradley ready at the whole of the grid. Brilliant race, brilliant way to continue this championship, and we've already got 2 people in the interview room.
Oh, points for eagerness there. We're going to jump straight to the interview screen in that case. I think it's only fair. And we can see we've got a couple of drivers in. Let's take a look and see what they thought of tonight's race. I'm going to start bottom up. We're going to start with Derbicor. Can you hear us, my friend?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hello.
congratulations on P3 tonight.
Thank you.
How are you feeling about tonight's performance?
Well, it's a good result, to be fair. Compared to the start of the season, I'm really happy with the result. A bit sad with my quality because I made a little mistake the last corner, who maybe cost me the P2, so a little bit sad on in my home Grand Prix. But yeah, I'm very happy with the result.
Yeah, definitely worth being happy about. I mean, like, what was your strategy going in? So, like, what was your mindset going in tonight? So, you mentioned it being, say, home Grand Prix, so naturally home advantage. But where was your mind at heading into tonight's race?
For the strategy, hard medium. I didn't know which lap I boxed, to be fair, like lap 13 or 14. But when I saw Lenny and Mirko, right? Yeah, box, I wanted to go 1 lap more, and my teammate helped me when I went out of the pit. So yeah, thanks to him. But yeah.
No, it was very nicely done out there, mate. Well, say it worked out pretty well. Say a little bit processional at points. I think the whole race. It's safe to say. But I guess sort of looking forward now and looking to maybe where we can keep some of the momentum. Is there any track in particular that you are looking forward to? So we'll pull up a calendar here. So we've got Portugal, Baku, the Netherlands, Brazil, and Texas finisher. Is there, if you had to pick one track that you're gonna say do well on, what's your favorite out of those?
Maybe a track who is not in the calendar, to be fair, but no, I like Brazil and Netherlands, but the other track, no, I don't like them. But I will do my best, like each week, but it will be hard. Yeah.
There we go. Is there anything, Nathan?
Well, no questions, but Lillian, well done, mate, on the P3, well
Thank you.
deserved, and we'll see if you can do it again next week. So thank you
Yeah.
for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the commentary, guys.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.
And next, we'll have a chat with Lenny, P2 sitter. Lenny, welcome in, mate. Can you hear us?
Yeah, hello.
Hello. So, brilliant race. P2 in the end couldn't quite get the win. You tried it on the last corner, but it didn't quite go to plan. But still, P2 is very good. Explain to us, how did that race go in your eyes?
Yeah, P2. I'm pretty disappointed, but yeah, I couldn't do anything about it. I was leading pretty much every lap of the race, so I was kind of trapped since the beginning. But the race was pretty good. The pace was there. Everything was cool. Even the quali lap, I didn't expect to start on pole. It was quite a surprise to be on pole, but I take it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think it went very well. It was quite a smooth race for you. You didn't really have to do much until the final lap. You were just leading pretty much the whole way ahead of Mirko and Julian. And then at the end, you had to get your elbows out a little bit. But still, obviously, you're going to lose a few points to Mirko in the championship. But I think now you'll comfortably take P2 in the championship. So still, do you think you can try and fight for the championship towards the end of the season? We've still got about 5 rounds to go, but Mirko has still got quite a healthy lead.
I'll try to put a fight for the title. mean, I'm there for it, so I'll try, but I think I can do it.
Of course.
We'll
Well,
see the mixed races.
Yep, of course. Well, that's all from me. Anything from you, Sappy?
I think encapsulated very well. I mean, I wanted to commend you on having really good control of the race. Like it seems like you kept a real cool head throughout majority of the race, and while it was P2 in the end, you certainly showed that you had the pace on tap. And hopefully, as we go into the second half of the season, there's some good momentum, and certainly in the Drivers' Championship, it's a great place to be.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes, and I'll try to keep the momentum for the rest of the season.
And it's what we want to see. Well, thank you very much, mate, for joining us. Of course, take a rest. You've earned it, and a very good result overall.
Thank you. See you guys.
Bye.
And that leaves us with the race winner, the one who took it all in the end in the final lap. He set a trap, and then he took the prize. Mirko Soriano, can you hear us?
Yes, hello everyone.
Well, welcome to the commentary box, and welcome to the top step of the podium. Now, from what I've been seeing and what I've been told, this isn't your first time on the top step, and I think short of round 3 where you didn't start, every single time you have been on the podium. So insane consistency, amazing job so far this season. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I was missing also like the win since a few races, and yeah, every race on the podium apart from Monaco, which I didn't do. Yeah, of course it's good. I'm trying to maximize like every race. In quali, I know I'm not the fastest. Like I'm never qualifying like top 3, but I'm building up in the race by just being smart and take good decisions.
Yeah, so obviously, let's talk us through the race a bit. So you said it yourself, as a quali is not your strongest back, you make it up in the race. So what was your sort of mindset going into this race? Did you have any particular idea regarding strategy or just general approach? What were your thoughts?
I was a bit worried about after like the first 2 laps of quali. So it was, I think, like P10, and I had a problem like with myself, not with like any hardware, but I was not braking enough. I don't know why. Like the first 2 laps, I was just not braking. I was going deep every corner. That was not ideal. And then lap 3, I just delivered a good lap, and that put me P2. Then yeah, I thought it was way easier to pass on this track, but actually I have to say like Lenny was very low wings, even lower than me. So of course when I had Julian in front, like, it was very difficult to even put him under pressure to go past Lenny. I tried a few times, but it didn't work. And then when the pit stop came, I was like, there was no point on passing Lenny really. So I just took my time and then stay close to the penultimate lap, and then it was actually like a very good battle because it was clean. We didn't touch a single time apart from the last corner, but like I left a bit of space. Of course I can't leave the whole track in the last lap, the last corner, but yeah, it was clean for him, so
Yeah.
it was just good.
Yeah, no, it's like sounds like fairly smooth sailing, and you do briefly mention the last lap. Of course, like you did have a bit of a heated battle for say P1, P2 battle, but I gotta say, really well done tonight. Like just overall, and you've got a clear sense of momentum. Obviously, I mean, it feels like a redundant question to say, but Drivers' Championship this year, or this season, I should say. But you've got 5 more rounds to go. Any sort of big tracks that you're looking forward to, or alternatively tracks you're dreading in the second half of this calendar?
I don't know about tracks. Like I didn't do like also no laps in France before the like race preparation. But then it was a track that I liked, and I didn't think so. So I haven't done Portimao as well, but maybe I will like it, maybe I will not. I don't know. Championship wise, I'll just see where my championship rivals are.
Go with the water flows. No, fair enough. I can respect that. Nathan, anything from you?
No questions, but Mirko, yet again, mate, well done on another podium this season. It seems like we've got you in the commentary box every single race, so we'll see if you can do it for the rest of the season, mate. So yet again, congrats on the victory, and we'll see you again next time.
Yeah, thank you. Great t-shirt, by the way.
Well played. That was the top tier t-shirt. And there we go. Well, thank you for joining us in the box.
Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
And that is where we put a wrap on things for tonight, folks. So looking forward to the calendar and seeing where we head to next. It is going to be Portimao. It's going to be Portugal, and it is going to be an absolute corker of a circuit. Yes, I am biased. Yes, I really love Portugal. Nathan, what say you? Bring some balance here.
It's an alright circuit, I'll give it that. I think in real life it's a bit of a snowfest, but I think in the game it can present itself a little bit of battling. I think a lot of the time from what I've seen of Portugal, a lot of battling ends up in contact because of how the corners are formed and how they're very thin and they turn, to the right or the left very quickly. So you've got to be very, precise when making those moves. So I think that's what we'll see, a bit of contact, I think, a bit of argy-bargy. And then turn out at Samsung, that uphill corner, which gets everyone every single time. We'll see at least one person spin there because it happens every time, every season. I've commentated at Portugal. Someone has a spin there and collects someone. So we'll see what that corner presents with us. But yeah, I think it's an alright track, and I think probably one of the top 5 in this season, I think.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a track that demands just as much in terms of driving precision as it does for, say, racecraft fighting opportunities. And that's the bit I'm looking forward to. But from tonight, for us both in the commentary box, you've been an amazing audience. It's been great to have you. And we'll see you next time for Portimao with PCF2 PSGL. Keep here, folks. Support the people who support us, GT Omega and Sim Racing Centre. We will see you very soon, but good night for now.
Good night. He's got the inside, but up here he's through on the left-hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.